In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of Pogs and Cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. And
Yes.
people came in during the intro. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things, and it's called Best Gen because we all happen to, roughly, más o menos, come from the same generation, and we happen to think that it's the best one. Not because, we as people are better. We're not elitists. It's because our movies and entertainment certainly were. So strap on in and prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce upon the days of yore, while simultaneously complaining about the utter filth that Disney subjects us to on a daily friggin' basis. I am pissed off. I made the mistake of watching Doctor Who, which I haven't done in years. I relapsed, and I am on fire. But before we get into that, everybody say hi to Post Mortem.
Hey.
What's up? Postmortem is like Pulp Mortem, but
Sorry.
They're two different things for sure, yeah.
Okay, look.
I've had
this is-
Neurotic say my name wrong literally 6 times till I finally sent him a giant super chat and was like, listen, sound it out slowly. These are pretty normal words.
This is like the most unprepared for a live stream I've ever been because I spent so long preparing for this live stream. I stayed up all night making a video and then I slept all day and realized I hadn't put it in the intro video. So we're just going to have to play it and pretend that it was part of the intro. And I know that your name is Pulp Mortem. And I was going to make a joke and call you Post Malone. And I messed it up.
Pulp Mortem is a good name.
It's a wonderful name. It explains everything that your channel is.
Yeah, I
in
still
the
have
title.
to explain it quite a bit, but yeah, it does. But only to friends and family, which is always awkward.
In Mexico,
Hey, just
because
like
I don't
read
know
old
what
books?
that means.
What's that?
The Angry Mexican doesn't know what it means, but we can explain it to him. But yeah, I'm so glad that you're on the show with us. Mark Clark, our wonderful channel member, our inaugural channel member, who's a wonderful guy. And if you want to become a channel member too, it's 99 cents and you get access to emojis. And that's pretty much it. But also early access to my videos, which usually is like the night before they go live. But on the rare occasion that I get copyright strikes, I can share those videos with members before they go live. And sometimes that's like a month. So there's perks, okay? Mark Clark introduced me to your channel, and I went and I'm like, this sounds interesting, and I ended up watching every single video that you made in one sitting, and I loved it.
Oh, good.
It's a wonderful channel. The Angry Mexa. His title is a pun for Pulp Fiction.
And Post Mortem.
And Post Mortem.
Yeah.
So Pulp Fiction is really cheap sci-fi books.
They used to print these sci-fi stories in these magazines, and there'd be like 10 of them in the magazine. And I mean, they're posters like he's got on his wall behind him.
Oh yeah.
It was made from really cheap pulp paper.
Yeah, they're really
like
rough.
you could buy them for pennies. And that's what he's got behind him. Because for some reason you decided to dedicate your life to reading all of them. Is that do you want to explain it?
Let me show you something too. This is new up here too.
Oh my god, there's more.
Yeah.
Nice.
They multiply.
I ran to my brother yesterday, and he's like, I watched one of your book haul videos. I'm like, I'm sorry, don't do that. And he says, listen, he's like, you know how many do you do a week? I was like, about one a week, maybe two, but typically one. He's like, how many weeks are in a year? I was like, shut up. I could have worse habits, right? There's worse vices out there than just buying copious amounts of old books.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a lot more than 52, man.
Oh yeah,
But
I have over 500.
Yeah, I find it really interesting that you guys actually have culture. Like we, instead of those sci-fi books, we used to have freaking corn. You know what I mean?
Corn? Oh
Yeah.
okay.
They will.
You also had corn though, so I thought that's what you were actually talking about.
No,
It's masa,
but
right?
mostly these kind of small cheap comic books will be called libro vaquero, and this was like have you heard of probably heard of those kind of like soap operas that they sell in little books, and then it's just for women, and it's like erotica, right?
Yep.
Things like that.
Oh, yeah.
That was
We had
basically
that-
what they
yeah.
sell in Mexican. That's it. That is all my culture.
No, that was
Yeah,
big too. The
it's
erotica,
so cool
the
that you guys
detective.
had like cheap sci-fi books and comic books and things like that, and we were selling erotica for males, not for women.
Well, some of the Pulp Fiction was a bit erotic too.
A lot of it was. There's a lot of erotic, a lot of detective, a lot of adventure too, like the Doc Savage and the Avengers, and that's where that's where a lot of the inspiration came for the Marvel superhero, and DC superheroes.
It was inspiration for
Doc Savage.
For a lot of authors for comic books and all kinds of big things. So it started off as just this cheap dime store novels, and a lot of people got famous. And
it was a good way for authors to test the waters, and the good ones like H.P. Lovecraft had tons of pulp comics. Edgar Allan Poe, a lot of his stuff. Those magazines.
So then the other part of your name, Post Mortem, is just after something's over, you talk about it. So he talks about dime store novels years afterwards, and
many years afterwards.
Your videos are very entertaining. The only problem is I read audiobooks because I'm dyslexic, and I want to read some of these along with you, and I'm like, these are not going to have audiobooks.
No. But they're all short. That's the best part. Is they're like 150 to 200 pages.
Yes, Albelio, you joined at the exact right time. Erotica. Justin Hancock will look forward to not interacting with you in the VODs, but thanks for tuning in. We got Mark Clark in the chat, who's wonderful. We already talked about him.
Hey,
Baron Hayes. Hey, it's good to see you in the live stream, man.
That's the first really, really great novel I've reviewed so far. Seahorses in the Sky.
Nice.
Seahorses?
Or Seahorse.
Okay. Yeah, if you had to recommend one out of all of the ones you've read so far, would Seahorses the best?
Seahorse in the Sky is legitimately a good book. Also, The Furies by Keith Roberts is legitimately a good book. It's kind of that one's probably more
that one sounded
accessible
really
to a lot
interesting.
that one's more accessible to a lot more general audience, I think, because it has more of that post-apocalyptic feel. It felt very similar to like a to like something King would write, and just his writing style was really engaging too. Some of them are not so engaging, but still the concept's good. But I would recommend those two. Those two are legitimately good books, and it was actually kind of touching because I say in my video, like, Edmund Cooper, the writer of Seahorse in the Sky, his daughter years later is like, he's unknown, nobody's heard of him, and I don't have a huge channel right now. But I've gotten so many messages of people like, I'm picking up that book, and I'm like, Mark, you're literally the fourth or fifth person to be like, I just ordered it, I'm reading it right now. And it's like, that's amazing to me, because I know you brought up H.P. Lovecraft, and H.P. Lovecraft is one of my favorite writers.
Yeah.
And he wrote exclusively in the pulps. Like, I don't think anything of his actually got printed, maybe a few things. So he died literally penniless and no fame whatsoever. And because the pulp market was saturated, anybody with a typewriter could submit to these magazines.
Yeah.
And eventually, decades, 40 years later, people are going through the old pulps and realize, hey, this stuff's amazing.
Yeah.
And it causes huge resurgence. And now, like, there's not a horror author today that doesn't owe something to H.P. Lovecraft. Like, we don't have Stephen King's not a thing without H.P. Lovecraft. In fact, he borrowed from H.P. Lovecraft quite liberally.
Yeah.
So,
that
was kind of my inspiration for doing it. It was just, there's just so much. The market was so oversaturated that there's great stuff out there that literally nobody's heard of or have just forgotten.
Yeah, it's fun to see the journey. He definitely wouldn't have been a thing without H.P. Lovecraft, and now he's not a thing because everyone hates him. So,
and he stopped doing drugs. That's when he went downhill. You say it, but it's true.
Wait, everyone hates H.P. Lovecraft now? What
No, Stephen King. Man, I don't like unfollow people on Twitter because I like to see the stupidity, but I had to prune. I had to prune him from my timeline. It was too much.
It's painful, yeah.
He has legitimately just the worst takes consistently.
Yeah, I mean,
Stephen King.
His media has decreased in quality. Like his books and his productions nowadays have been way less.
He's still got some good stuff though. I fully plan on reading the Dark Tower and like The Stand and all the classics that I haven't gotten
I've been
around
wanting
to.
to read that for a long time.
It's all right.
It's all right.
But
it's all right. Stand's all right. Stand's overrated. I mean, it's good to read, but it's like 1,000 pages, and he's very
that's why I haven't written it
very
yet.
Self-indulgent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of my thing. I like a little bit. I'm a Wheel of Time fan. Okay, I'm okay with indulgence. There's only paragraphs and paragraphs of dress descriptions. Okay, ever read what?
Doom McKee. That's my favorite of Stephen King's book, and it's nobody talks about that one. Everybody's like, "What is it?"
Say the title again. Doom McKee.
D-U-M-A Key.
Doohickey?
Yeah, it's my Doohickey. Now that and The Long Walk are by far his best work, I think. But yeah, it's great. It's very, very original, and I find that a lot of his premises he reuses quite a bit. Like Cell and The Stand are the exact same book. They're the exact same book.
That's what I've heard.
And I read this, I'm like, what is this? But yeah, Doom McKee is very unique. It's great. I mean, it's not a perfect book, but it's my favorite out of his. It's the one I still own.
Fairy Tales was good. Dark Tower sucked. It's either you love the Dark Tower or you hated it. There's no middle ground with that thing.
I think I got lost in the third Dark Tower book, and I'm like, this is just kind of meandering, and I'm busy.
So I know you do a whole lot of pulp, but what's your favorite mainstream sci-fi?
Mainstream sci-fi. Well, see, I got out of sci-fi for many, many years, but back when I was into sci-fi, I was into the Star Wars expanded universe. That was kind of my go-to.
You're one of those people. Got it.
I was one of those people. But in particular, the original Heir to the Empire, like the Timothy Zahn original.
Okay, I got you.
That's what I loved. And then I just read other stuff. I wasn't strictly in sci-fi, but I always wrote sci-fi. And so then I kind of felt guilty, like, if I'm writing in sci-fi, I should probably be reading sci-fi. And then I just wanted to read the old stuff, and I'm like, wow, there's actually good stuff here. So,
So do you have a published book out?
No,
yet, or you working on it?
Not yet. Okay. I took a decade-long writing break. And so all my old stuff just sucks now as I'm going as it is. Like, try watching your old videos or anything you did 10 years ago. You're like, this is cringe.
Yeah.
And so now I'm reworking a lot of my stuff. But eventually I'd like to get to the point where I can publish it.
Yeah,
Nice.
if I get the courage, I think it might be fun to do like a live stream where I read some of my old music lyrics. It's bad. It's bad stuff. But yeah. Well, when it's done, I want to know.
I'll send you a copy
For sure.
on audiobook.
I pretty much exclusively read fantasy and sci-fi because I like it. Because I'm a nerd. But yeah, well, it's great to have you on the show. There's it's Mother's Day, and I forgot.
That
But
explains things.
I didn't. It's okay.
You forgot your mom? And your
I
mom?
called my mom. I just didn't do anything for my wife, but it's okay. She's not my mom.
Oh, what? That's even worse.
That's your
No,
kid's
I did the
job.
opposite.
To do things with wife, right?
No,
That's your
I got my
kid's
kids. I got my kids to do stuff, but also I planted a whole bunch of perennial flowers that'll come back year after year. I feel like that's a pretty good Mother's Day present. Okay.
Nice.
I'm texting my mom right now because I forgot.
There you go. Here's a reminder for everyone watching. Tell your
But
mom.
yeah, I set up. I mean, this stream has been in the works for like 2 months, and I didn't even realize it was going to be Mother's Day. So it's got to. David's got to keep it short.
Yep.
If you need to leave, you totally can. And the longer I stream, the more trouble I get in. So.
All right, what are we talking about first?
Oh, there's so much, guys, and it's my fault. Let's get the Jinx over with. It's fantastic. Okay, episode 3 is so much happens, and if you are not watching the Jinx, like just do it. Okay, this is the most fascinating thing that's happened in my lifetime. It's crazy.
But you say the same thing about the Shogun?
No, but this is a real thing. This is real. It's a documentary, and it happened in my lifetime.
Shogun was based on a real historical figure, but it's fiction. The Jinx is a real.
The Jinx is about a murderer who got away with it.
Yeah. But yeah, this if we want to get into it real quick, this episode made me mad.
Yeah.
Because
Good.
this
The prosecution is making some really, really weird choices that make no sense to me.
Yeah, it's painful.
They literally had a smoking barrel and said, we decided not to use this and not present it in court. And their reasoning is like, okay, that's a valid reason, but also it's a smoking gun. Use it.
I know.
In the meantime, they used this other guy's testimony.
Which was just complete.
It was completely made up. Like, why are you undercutting yourself like this? Like, he gave this testimony that completely contradicts an official statement he made to the police at the time that it happened. I'm like, how do you not discover that before you bring him over to the witness stand? And like, oh, maybe we should have an answer for why you didn't have this, why you didn't give this statement.
It's not that they didn't discover it. It's that was them. That was his statement to them because they were trying to pry it from him for so long, and he denied it.
Yeah. It was just.
Yes, the Jinx is totally worth it. It's just.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, it's unbelievable that this happened in real life twice.
Yeah. Also,
I refuse to Google any details because I don't want spoilers, even though it's over and he's dead. I need to know if they convict him or not.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The thing about this episode that got me was, frustratingly, the defense had some really good arguments.
They did,
right? And that's what's frustrating me the whole time, is that like his defense, it just has these arguments that would legitimately win the case.
Yeah.
And to see him get off on technicalities like that are just like frustrating.
I will say I laughed. I had to pause the episode for a good 10 minutes when they're talking about right before the reveal of where the trial starts. We're like, I was debating whether I should cut my hair or leave it long. It looks better long, but if I shave it, then they can see my scar and then I'll have sympathy. And then it cuts to him showing up on day 1 with the neck brace. I'm a
Right?
frail old man. Like it was something out of a sitcom. It could not have been more perfect.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's why it's frustrating because you can tell that he's just playing.
He's an actor. He's acting.
Playing them. He's like, oh, but it'll come off better, right? If I do it this way, if I shave my head, it'll come off better for the jury. They'll think I'm a frail guy. And you're like, what in the world? But I will say, with this one episode, it was nice to see that the prosecution at least had some bite. Like,
Yeah.
it's not completely,
Well,
just gonna wag its tail the whole
better
time.
than the first trial, yeah, but not much.
Well, but I think obviously we've only seen a couple episodes, and I think they've still got some strings they can pull. But like, I agree, it wasn't by much, but it still was like, hey, okay, these guys may have a better chance of actually winning this. Like, it was great to hear him literally say, like, oh yeah, we know he's going to play us off like this. Okay, so we've got evidence that's going to back that up. That's going to contradict what he's telling them.
Yeah.
Yep. But yes, the Albelio, the Jinx is absolutely worth it. Okay, and I didn't think there would ever be a season 2, and we're so blessed to live in a time where there was a season 2 of the Jinx. The Ingrid Vexa, it's just about this guy who's a murderer, and the first season was 10 years old, and it's about how the prosecution and defense was genius and just got him off for a crime that was just a slam dunk for the prosecution, and they lost. They literally caught him with a body in his trunk, the trunk of his car that had been dismembered and put into bags, and he won the case.
Okay, it wasn't that bad. Like the members, the dismembered bodies weren't actually in the car, but they found the murder weapon pretty straightforward.
Stealing a hoagie.
Yeah.
So season 1 is about that trial, and season 2 is about a second trial that only exists because of the first documentary. They found evidence that the police couldn't find, so that they could try him. Like, it's.
But the first time, like, how did he get off? Like, what was his argument? Like, I found
his argument is that the prosecution had been hunting him for years to try and pin him on the murders that he's currently being tried for. Well, not currently in the show. They were trying to prosecute him for the murder of his wife and his best friend for so long, but they couldn't find evidence. And then he murdered a third guy, and they caught him red-handed. And his defense was, these people have been trying to get me on murder for my whole life, so I was terrified. I did end this guy, but it was self-defense, and I was so scared that it was going to get pinned on me that I tried to hide the evidence. That was his defense, and it freaking worked.
That's kind of clever, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
it's genius.
Don't try to use it, Mexicano. Don't try to use it.
No, that kind of thing doesn't work in Mexico. If they find you with a couple of hands in your truck, you just say the real. You just say what happened, and you just give money to the person that found you.
Well, that's the thing. He was like, "Yeah, I did do it, but it wasn't my fault."
Yeah, no, it's so hilarious because you guys talk about the court case. If it was like a freaking super villain fighting the Avengers or some kind of like you talk about it like it was a 3-act movie. But I hate how you guys like the smartest people in the role of lawyers, which shouldn't be, in my opinion, because they use it for evil. The smartest people.
Yeah,
that it's really hard to do law in America. You have to go to this law school, and that's really hard to get into the bar and all that stuff. In Mexico, trust me, like the people that are lawyers are not the smartest, like by far are not the smartest. People make fun of lawyers in Mexico, and in Mexico, the less you know about the laws, the better. Trust me. Yeah, usually you only need to know laws that are for getting away with stuff. Like you have to know how to get away with getting pulled over for this. What do they do? The cops when they do the alcoholimetro? What do you guys call it in
breathalyzer?
breathalyzer. Yeah. When you get pulled over in Mexico, there's a lot of ways, even if you are drunk as heck, of getting away with the breathalyzer. And basically, you just have to say, "This is my private property. I'm not gonna get away of my car." And if they try to get inside of your car, you say, "Oh, they are, they are intruding into my private property." And they cannot do anything. So you can just do that, and you wait for like 3 hours until the drunk just comes down, and you're good to go. But yeah, it is so interesting listening to about
the moral of the story is don't drive drunk. Okay.
And don't dismember your neighbors.
But if you do, you better do it in Mexico.
And then
you get away with it here.
And then don't confess to everything on a documentary. So.
Yeah. Or a podcast.
Oops. Mark Clark, so funny. You don't have to watch the Jinx. Just read the post-mortem. You're so funny. Dragonsteel. Yes, it's official. My booth was accepted. So yes. I will be at Dragonsteel. We're going to have a nice banner with David, and we're going to get Shelf Help Gaming to join. And they are proffering up a 7-foot shard blade that we're going to auction off, as well as like a diamond-studded 3D printer nozzle.
That's
nice. That's cool. Too.
So,
is that Simply Nerdy?
Yeah, it's Simply Nerdy.
Okay, you said Shelf Help Gaming.
Oh, sorry. I just committed David to spending. No. So Steve from Simply Nerdy, our cousin, printed out a giant shard blade for his cosplay for Dragonsteel this year, and his wife won't let him keep it. So he spent like a bunch of money on it.
It's normal.
And so he's gonna give it away at the convention.
Yeah. I also had a sword, and my girlfriend didn't want me to keep my sword inside my work for some reason.
Yeah. I got tickets as well for my wife and I. This will be our first year going to.
Tickets sold out in 40 minutes.
Yep.
I'm sure if you weren't able to get some, you probably still will. They're probably going to re-release a second batch. They've done it the last 2 years in a row, so just keep an eye out for those. Yeah, I'm going to be there. It's going to be fun. Do we have to talk about Doctor Who now?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, it's on the thumbnail, but I didn't watch Planet of the Apes. I don't care. Nobody watched it?
I stopped caring after the second
one.
I don't even know how many are there. Cool. I only like the original one, the 1980s one. That's the one I like.
Yeah,
that twist at the end, that got me effed up when I was a kid. I was like, what? I was like, what? I was thinking about it for weeks. I was like, wait, did the people grow hair? I was literally thinking in my head, did the people grow hair? Or why are they? Why do they look like that? I was just tripping as a 10-year-old or 12-year-old that I watched it for the first time because my mom bought the trilogy. Well, it was a trilogy or something like that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who were struggling to get tickets, so I'm sure they're gonna release more. It looks fine. I just don't. I haven't watched any of them because that's my thing with the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It is a horrible title, okay? Because you spoil the ending in the title. You know by the end of the movie that the Planet of the Apes will rise.
And they do.
Is that the first one, Rise?
Yeah.
No, that's the second one.
Okay, what is the first one then?
Dawn? No, maybe that is the first one.
It's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Rise. Rise. It's Rise.
Dawn is after Rise, which makes no sense.
Yeah, what the heck?
It's Rise and then Dawn and then Evening of the Planet of the Apes.
War of the Planet of the Apes.
War of the Planet of the Apes. Okay.
Now it's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
That's the first one.
Spoils the ending.
Well, yeah.
You know that it's not a Planet of the Apes, and then at some point in the movie, it's going to dawn. It should have been called. It's possible that by the end of this movie, there might be a Planet of the Apes. I would have gone to see that movie.
Just have a question mark at the end of it.
Planet of the Apes?
Now, nobody's going to sit through 2 hours of Oh, what's that actor's name? That horrible actor.
Franco?
Franco.
Franco. No one's gonna sit through 2 hours of Franco for question
The
mark.
monkey was a better
I just
actor.
recently rewatched that one, and I was like, "Oh, that's why I didn't watch any more of these because James Franco."
I hated it because of him, basically.
It's awful.
He's awful. He's awful. And he's not always that awful, but he was really bad.
He's in fine form.
But like, especially coming off of the original Planet of the Apes, which was the greatest plot twist of all time. Like it cannot be beaten. It was genius, and the only reason you don't know it's genius is because you already know the spoiler, which is that it takes place on Earth, the Statue of Liberty. It's been memed out the wazoo. So even if you haven't seen the movie or know nothing about it, you've seen the imagery of the Statue of Liberty in the sand. That's such a good plot twist. Because it's set up, you think that they travel through space, like they go through a wormhole and find a random planet that's got apes, and they're like, oh, we got to get back home, we got to get back to Earth. And then the twist is, at the end of the book, they're on Earth. They didn't travel through space, they traveled through time, and this is the future.
Spoiler alert,
and
Mark Clark.
Yep. Spoiler alert. For a 50-year-old movie.
See, when I was a kid, what spoiled it for me was Spaceballs.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Spaceballs before Planet of the Apes.
Yep. I was like, then when I watched Planet of the Apes, like, oh yeah, I get it now. I get
it makes sense.
That's still a good movie.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
So,
but yeah, I thought all of these. I've seen all the new Planet of the Apes movies, and I think they're all very well made. But some of them just kind of blend together. And especially the last one, I really liked the last one, but it was very disconnected from
they look fantastic. I just don't care.
Yeah, the visuals
popcorn
are amazing.
You get the same high from watching those awful movies with Dwayne Johnson, the Earthquake movies, and the freaking
Rampage.
He has like 3 disaster movies in like 1 year because I guess he had a contract or something. But yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, man. They say it's better than the last ones. I watched Dawn and Rise. The Rise was hilariously oh my god, that is hilariously bad. Dawn is kind of bad. It has some good stuff, like the battle at the end in the bridge was kind of fun.
Yeah,
but the rest, it was after Rise, I was like, no, hell no.
Yeah,
it was good.
Next,
oh no, I think I saw the third one too, and that was even worse.
I
thought
about
it.
Yeah,
it was or
so
maybe
you forgot about it already.
Yeah. I mean,
the only thing I've seen is, I've seen the ending scene of the first movie, and I've seen Your Movie Sucks, hour-long video criticizing War of the Planet of the Apes, and I'm like, I have no interest to watch it.
Which one is the one where the monkeys now can use guns?
That's all of them, I think.
Well,
no.
Not so much in the first one.
The first one done.
Yeah,
they
so
used when the second one they are using it, right?
That's Dawn and War of the Planet of the Apes.
And in the third one, they already have horses, and they do like they basically have like trained military, and they have a lot. But they still have humans, right? In the third one.
Yeah. What?
Yes.
In the third one,
there's humans in all
a
of them.
little bit of the third one, but I said like, okay.
The third one is the one with in the war camp. And then they introduce this plot of the people that are immune eventually lose their humanity or something like that. And then it just came out of nowhere. And the humans start becoming primitive ape-like creatures.
That's silly.
And forget that they're people. it was kind of weird.
I just wanted to read this hilarious quote from Mark Clark Jesus. I never let sequential order bother me.
Yeah, Mark is notorious for reading books out of order and starting a series in the middle or something. So.
Yeah.
It's a running joke on the stream.
Yeah. So, okay. All right.
Let's talk about.
Let's get Doctor Who over with, and then I just want to talk about books with Pulp Mortem because that's why we got him.
Yes.
I like
I am
movies
here
too.
just to insult.
You what?
I like
I am
movies
here
too.
just to insult people.
Movies are
I
good,
mean, Doctor Who.
but the last 2 years, 3 years, I've definitely gotten more enjoyment out of books than I have Hollywood.
Oh, definitely.
It's what drove me to books was just the lack of anything good. So, all right. So I made the mistake of watching Doctor Who. I didn't watch any of the David Tennant ones. I didn't watch the specials. I didn't watch I didn't watch the other baby episode, but I watched this episode because I wanted to watch the other episode. They dropped 2 episodes, and the second one has a drag queen who's ridiculous and the Beatles in it apparently, and I wanted to see that because it looked ridiculous. And I saw a clip about the ending of that one.
So you didn't watch the baby one, okay?
No, I watched the baby one. But not because I wanted to. I wanted to see this one just to see how bad it was because it ends with a song and dancing, which you don't see sound. It's like, if there's one thing I've learned, everything ends with a twist, and then it ends in a big number for absolutely no reason, and everyone was really confused. So I was like, I want to watch that, see how bad it was. But first I had to watch the baby episode, and I got sidetracked, and I stayed up all night, and I made a video. And that video is currently under copyright dispute. But I have a short preview version with a whole bunch of watermarks. It took me 30 different renders to get a version that would not be flagged.
Jeez.
So here's that.
Let's go.
This is the preview for whenever that video gets... it's under appeal, so they only have 7 days. Unless they give me a copyright strike and try and sue me. So, here's that.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Doctor Who.
It's been a while. Figured I'd check in.
So how are you doing?
Do you see? It's calm up here, but underneath it is seething, just like downstairs with that creature. It's got to be a crew or a captain.
This is Pulp Mortem from 1306. I keep getting these temperature fluctuations. I've opened up safety valves 10 to 16. Try cost matching with the CO2 exchange. But until we get our pressure down, I can't.
Right?
But you, oh, we've been waiting for an awfully long time. Mummy, Daddy.
Oh no!
No, darling, we're not.
Boys, I gotta tell everybody. Mummy and Daddy are here.
A baby farm. Run by babies.
Space babies!
Who are you?
I'm the doctor.
Wrong!
Well, hold on. I can't call you doctor.
That's my girl.
No, I want to know your name.
Yeah, that's tricky. Because I was adopted, and the planet that took me in, they were kind of posh.
Hang in there, Squidward. It's all part of the job.
They used titles like the Doctor, or the Bishop, or the Rani, or the Conquistador.
That's not how I'd say it.
Or the Conquistador.
Let's take a roll here. Jay Quellen. Where's Jay Quellen at? No Jay Quellen here?
Do you mean Jacqueline?
Okay, so that's how it's gonna be.
Say Doctor for 1,000 years and it becomes my name.
No, it doesn't.
How many fingers am I holding up, Vincent?
And if the party says there are not 4, but 5, then how many?
5.
No. That's no use. You're lying. How many fingers, please?
4. What else can I say? 5, 4. Anything you like. Only please stop it. Stop the pain.
Say doctor for 1,000 years and it becomes my name. I'm the doctor. I'm the doctor. I'm the doctor.
I don't know. I don't know.
Better.
Something is wrong with this place. It is a space station reaching overloads.
No, you made it worse.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
Is that monster?
No, don't be silly.
You're the monsters!
How do you manage? All on your own?
We've got Nanny. Say hello, Nanny.
Good afternoon, children, and welcome to our new visitors.
Oh, nanomatrix electroform, Nani.
Nani?
Right. Hi, Nani. I'm the doctor.
No, you're not. You're a bitey mad lady.
Hi, Nani. I'm the doctor, and this is Ruby.
Hello, my name's Nino.
Little baby me was left alone in the middle of outer space. And guess who took me in?
I don't know.
The Time Lords. Can you say it like me?
Time Lords.
That's it. But the point is that it doesn't matter where I come from because I am absolutely lovely, aren't I?
You are gay.
That wasn't rhetorical, Pops.
Yes, you are.
And you want to know my secret? There's no one like me in the whole wide universe.
That's a good thing.
No one like me exists, and that's true of everyone. It's not a problem, Captain Pops. It's a superpower.
Just super gay.
So the planet down below will refuse to stop the babies being born, but once they're born, they don't look after them.
It's a very strange planet.
It's not that strange.
A timely allegory about prejudice.
Oh man,
that's half the video.
It's a really good video, bro. I really love it. I understand why they are. Yeah, I will understand why they are trying to take it down because it's too good.
It gets worse. It gets worse. I ended on that.
Yeah, I usually
anti-pro-life
thing,
which is just this so stupid. It's such it is the epitome of a straw man argument. You can't say you care about life if you don't give us money for our whole lives to take care of kids that we don't want. No one's forcing anyone to have babies, okay? You choose that possibility when you spread your legs. That is something that could happen. It's called a consequence. No one's forcing you to have sex. Okay? And to claim that we don't care about life because we don't believe that welfare is moral. It is not moral to take people's money forcibly to give to the poor. It's moral to make that choice. It's moral to give to charity. And conservatives give to charity more than any other demographic. Democrats don't give to charity. The percentage, It's a huge disparity in those numbers. Also, conservatives adopt more than any other demographic too. Well, besides gay couples, but that's a different problem. And it wasn't conservatives that forcibly shut down the biggest adoption agency of all time, which was the Catholic Church. That was Democrats. So screw you.
I mean, we're doing some weird things with the kids, but
I enjoy talking about politics. I enjoy talking about politics, but I don't talk about politics on the show. I don't like talking about politics on the show because it's not a political show. I want to talk about nerdy crap. This is not my fault. I did not make this political. You did, you sick bastards.
Yeah, and how they made whole reference about the T people. You know, I cannot say the word, but you know the T's in the LG. You know,
the episode right after that goes on to talk about immigration and we need to be nice to immigrants. And then, spoilers: the ending of the whole show, the entire episode is a metaphor for child predators are not monsters; they're just children inside. The monster that's chasing them the whole time, he's just one of the kids too. He's just misunderstood, but he's literally hunting the children.
Yeah, that was weird.
I see that already there.
Look, and I know when the full video comes out, I'm going to get criticism saying, but Doctor Who has always been sympathetic to the monsters. Yes, not when their sole existence is hunting children.
Yeah, that's kind of
the Doctor
weird.
Defends children, and he defends who people think are monsters, but they're just misunderstood. Yes, that is a theme in Doctor Who, but not when it comes to kids.
Yeah, he's not misunderstood. He's the predator.
Also, this is the same episode that had the butterfly effect thing in it that we saw last week.
Really?
It has nothing to do with the entire episode. It happens at the beginning as a gag.
Kidding me.
She steps on a butterfly and turns into a butterfly person, and then he picks up the butterfly, blows on it, and brings it back to life.
Yeah.
And the only reason that's not in the video is because I forgot about it. Because it has nothing to do with the rest of the episode. I'm going to have to make another video on this same damn episode.
Wow.
Where I talk about the Doctor has the ability to resurrect things now.
Yeah, well, and then he goes back into his TARDIS. He's like, I have new controls. I got to turn on the butterfly effect. Like, I got to turn that butterfly effect off. You're like,
oh my
what?
That makes me really sad.
Well, still the most offensive part to me was how he can't pronounce conquistador.
Yeah, that was a good.
I don't know how he says it because it's so wrong. Conquistador? That's not right. He says something else.
Conquistador or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, he was trying to say conquistador, right?
He was trying to say conquistador.
I'm a Mexican. The word is from Latin. What?
Look, I get you're British. A lot of your pronunciation is different and weird, but you're also right next to Spain. You should know how to say conquistador.
And France, which I'm pretty sure that is probably similar. Probably
that was pretty awful.
Like
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't enjoy watching that episode as much either. There was one other thing too here's the thing. The messages that the Doctor, I think, are fine. Like, you know, for example, you know, it's all about, okay, yes, everybody has value, which I think is good, right? To say, hey, yes, everybody has
and that's
value.
always been a theme in Doctor Who, and it's a great theme. To like, hey, stop fighting and understand each other instead. That's a very frequent theme. We're like, oh, they're monsters. Yeah. No, they're different.
Yeah,
and you can come to an accord, and that's always been a recurring theme in Doctor Who. This was different. This was very different.
Yeah, it was pretty like for what you show. It was pretty. Pretty much an allegory for, you know, LGBT people.
Yeah, And don't forget, the target demographic for the show, which Russell T Davies said in an interview, is 11-year-old kids.
It's oddly specific, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's oddly specific.
Whoa. Yeah.
Plus, that CGI was horrible.
The lips is so, like, it's disturbing the way these babies talk. It's never explained why the babies talk. They're 6 years old. It's never explained why they're still babies and why they're babies who can talk.
Even in Boss Baby, Baby, the movie, they explain why they're babies, why they can talk.
Boss Baby, honestly, Boss Baby is a really good movie. Like, I was not expecting this, like, meta narrative about growing up and dealing with a sibling. Like, it was clever.
Really insane. That movie is kind of insane when you watch it without context. And with context. But yeah, Boss Baby even has that they explain why the babies are babies, that they talk and they never grow up, and they didn't bother. They say, who cares? Boss Baby, Jesus Christ, the audience for Boss Baby is smarter than our audience anyway.
I didn't watch it, thank God. But like, we can all watch things that like, and read things that you don't necessarily agree with. But if it's well done, and if it's like I can read a message that I don't agree with, and I'm okay with that. Like, there's a lot of these old books are, communist sympathizers and things like that. People that were blacklisted from Hollywood during the
one of my top 10 books is Johnny Got His Gun, written by one of the biggest communists in existence.
Yeah, and that's okay, because if it's well done, you can separate the art from the artist, all this. Right. However, when it's that clunky, and when they're like, every time that they would say something in that clip, it was almost like they'd look at the camera.
They looked.
We're preaching to you. Did you get it?
They're winking with both eyes.
Yes, it was.
The acting is just so over the top, ridiculously cheesy. Yeah. It's like a bad stage play.
It is.
It makes me really sad.
I do have to say though, I did like the energy that the Doctor has. He has a lot of energy, which is good. Like, it's good to see just a character that has a lot of energy. But there's definitely a lot of that as well, where you're like, oh, that's just kind of cringe. Like, that didn't hit right.
You mean this kind of energy? I'm ready for it. Ready?
Don't do it.
Oh no!
Wait. Which one?
I thought you said you were ready for it.
I was ready, and then I didn't. I second guessed, and and then I was right, but I decided to double check to make sure I got the right clip. This is his interview about
I think that there will be.
Can you hear?
Yep.
Why he uses a lot of makeup?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ! Like, I've never seen him. Well, is he a man? Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Looks like a lady of the night with all that makeup. So
I think that there will be no way to not. You have to address race. I think, like, the Doctor has been. This is the first time the Doctor has been black for this long, and he tends to spend most of his time on Earth. It's a favorite of his.
That eye roll.
And so it would be essential to explore race within this tenure. It's something that I would want to do, and like, I don't think you could ignore it. You can't ignore my chocolateness, so we're not gonna ignore that. I think that
he says that, but he wears makeup to be on the other color of his skin. Like, he's not the real color of his skin, Is he so proud of his color of his skin? That he defines that, and that defines the new Doctor. So he uses that amount of makeup to hide his real color of his skin, to look literally like chocolate from a freaking candy bar. Right?
You know what I heard that entire time? I, me. There wasn't there is zero reverence for the character he's playing. He does not care about the character. He cares about himself. If someone asks you that question, you could say, look, yeah, I know I'm a different race, but that's not what the story's about. And I'm just glad that I have the opportunity to play this character, and I hope that I can honor that legacy. I don't care that he's black.
Yeah.
The only thing that's important for the Doctor is that he's a man and that he's British. This guy's neither of those things.
Yeah, and then he goes through time, but that's another thing.
But if it's not about race, it's
just want good stories. They're told well. But yeah, it makes me sad that they keep beating my baby. I love Doctor Who.
One of the lines from the episode is the caretaker tries to kill the monster by pushing it out of an airlock, and he gets upset. No, she says, "I'm going to do anything to protect my children," and he says, "No, he's one of the children too."
Well, yeah, and then it was weird how she comes running in and was like, "You protect them all," or something like that.
You save
like,
them all. It was such a weird line. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, that was a really weird. I was like, "What does that mean to her?" Like, yeah, that's what she's doing. She's protecting.
And this is the message to lifelong fans. Yeah, we're gonna piss people off. For every transphobic, racist, bigoted Doctor Who fan who that we lose this season, there are going to be 3 to 5 new fans who are coming in for the representation. So to those fans who are not fans, I say, don't let the door hit you on the way out. We've been gone for a long time. Okay, this is like the only people who are still watching this are idiots like me who get suckered in, and people who are already on your side. But man, they've got to be delusional about those numbers to think we're Hydra. If you cut off our head, 3 more will join.
Well, you know what pisses me off too is for years, or for half of the Peter Capaldi, and I even watched the Jodie Whittaker. I haven't watched the last several episodes, but all through those runs, I and my wife wanted to watch Doctor Who, and they didn't. It wasn't available streaming anywhere.
Yeah,
you had to buy a separate subscription to BritBox or something on Amazon in order to watch it. And it used to be you could watch them like a year after the fact. No, it was unavailable to watch anywhere.
Yeah,
and now, as soon as I unsubscribed from Disney Plus, now they're screaming day of on Disney Plus, and I'm super freaking pissed. It's like, why do you have to have them readily available to watch when it sucks so bad? Why couldn't you have it?
Yes, Albelio, I did see that they shut down their Twitter account.
Yeah.
For backlash. Sorry, white man, Doctor Who was never made for you, except that it kind of always was.
Yeah. Look at that
They
shirt.
were literally the target demographic. And then they deleted their Twitter. They deleted it. Yes.
Well, here's the thing I'll add to that, though, too, David. Sadly, I think, at least, I don't know, this was my experience. Watching it on Disney Plus, it kept freezing.
That's not where I watched it.
Well, it kept freezing. It kept freezing on me every, 10 minutes. So it wasn't a great experience anyway, because Disney Plus has never really had great streaming, because it's been freezing on since day one.
It was actually really hard to find yesterday, too, because the Pirate Bay was down.
Anyway.
Maybe that was the reason. The funny enough is that you didn't have any buffering issues, and the Disney original website did.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch more Tom Baker. I've seen a handful of episodes.
He's great.
But I have a bunch of I've seen all of the reboot up until more recently, and then I have several DVDs of some popular stories for the old ones. But I really need to go back and watch more Tom Baker because he was pretty good.
I will get to this episode eventually. The next, this is what I was trying to get to this one, and I got detoured, and it was a massive detour. But everyone's criticizing this episode, which I don't quite understand, because this is literally the scariest villain that
good gosh
has ever been on Doctor Who. So I think it's spot on. I don't know. I don't understand the criticism of this episode.
That was what I was going to say about the. People are complaining on both sides, saying, "Oh, they're going to lose a lot of fans with this trans character on here.
Like, no, if she's playing the villain, by all means.
all the articles, they say it plays a monstrous villain that's terrifying. I'm like, yep, you got that right. You got that right. Although I'm a little bit sorry for this individual. All the articles keep misgendering this wonderful man.
Yeah.
Must be tough.
It's rough. In another just tone-deaf statement, Russell T. Davis said that Doctor Who should be as big as Marvel.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I agree.
What you wish for?
It should have been, but you ruined it. And now you got your wish. It is like current day Marvel.
Yeah.
It would have been easy. It would have been at least for the Anglo-Saxon world, the English-speaking world. He's not big in Mexico. Let me tell you, he's not.
If it was more readily available to watch in the U.S. and other countries, I think it would have been a lot more popular, especially during the David Tennant and Matt Smith eras.
This article made me laugh because it's Screen Rant being idiots like always. But Chudy Gatwa, they changed it. They changed the title.
What does sometimes the actual URL is the same as the old title? Doctor Who.
They freaking do this. They come up with stupidity, get criticized for it, and when I want to call them out, I didn't take a screenshot. No, it didn't have almost. It was Chudy Gatwa breaks precedent. Shatters precedent by breaking an untouchable Doctor Who rule in season 4. And then the article is all about how he didn't break the rule about swearing because he says shizzle instead of shite. Anyway, well, at least they fixed it. I'll give them that. I wish I had a mediocre Screen Rant take, but
Screen Rants. Bad takes.
I have a good one and I have a bad one, but I don't have a medium one. I don't have you fixed the problem? Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Wheel of Time. There's another article about that. But did you? Oh no, sorry. I got it. I just closed the one talking about Wheel of Time, so I can talk about the Wheel of Time because the X-Men movie is down to 2 writers now.
Oh no!
The Wheel of Time or Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So,
well, I won't be seeing it either way, so I don't care.
Rafe Judkins is one of the most evil people on this planet. Anyway, Nerdporial brought me this one, but they're doing a season 2.
Yeah, I heard that news.
So that's fun.
We'll see.
And also, now the Boy Scouts are just Scouts. So,
yeah.
No, American Scouts.
All that coming.
This article is actually really hilarious because my brother and I were both Eagle Scouts.
Yeah, so we're Mormons, which consisted of probably 80% of the Boy Scouts of America, and they pissed us off, and so the entire church left their organization. It's pretty great.
Yep, and then a couple years later, they were sued for a whole bunch of bad stuff, and then Anyways, but that article was hilarious because it's like, they changed their name and they're now not the Boy Scouts of America, but Scouting America or some crap like that. They're being more inclusive, and it's so wonderful. And they're just coming out of this bankruptcy and they're changing everything, and it's going to be great. I'm like, no, the reason why they were bankrupt is because people
of
crap
this. Yeah,
that you're doing, and you're just doing the same crap.
Well, they did some bad stuff to kids as well.
Literally, being morally straight is in their motto, and it's not anymore. So,
well, Scouting America, it sounds like something they were already doing that kind of got them on some watch lists. At least maybe they're being a little more honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing. I
told them they had to be more honest.
I think that what a lot of the girls at least are wanting is they're wanting to be able to do the merit badges and stuff like the Boy Scouts were.
Great. So turn Girl Scouts into that. Like you need. That's the thing. Like,
right?
Men and women, boys and girls, they're so special. Okay, and our differences are beautiful, and it's very important to have boy spaces and girl spaces so you can explore different things. And there may be some tom girls who want to go camping, and that's great. Go camping with their dads. I hope they have dads that they can go camping with, okay? But the vast majority of girls don't like that kind of stuff, okay?
Probably if they want to go camping, they don't have
and
that.
they're going to get a whole lot more out of a Girl Scout program that do girly things, stuff that boys freaking hate, okay? I have no problem with women wanting to do the manly stuff. That's totally freaking cool, and there should be a subsection of Girl Scouts that does the manly cool camping stuff. But you need boy spaces. It is a just essential.
It's funny in a culture that is always
What's the word I'm looking for?
Having safe spaces.
Exactly. Safe spaces, right?
Safe spaces, yeah.
It's an essential release for young men to have just like-minded young men and to just go outside and hit trees with sticks. That's all we're doing. It's not like we're not doing rocket science on these campouts. We're literally just hitting things with sticks. Girls wouldn't find that fun, okay?
And if they do, girls would just make it weird.
My favorite thing to do is when we were doing like a week long where we'd be there all week. On day one, we'd catch a squirrel and keep it as a pet for the whole time. So I got really good at tying, not a noose, but a slip knot. So you'd just have a pile of nuts. Squirrel would get on there, and you'd literally have a squirrel on a leash for the whole week. It was the best.
You capture squirrels in Boy Scouts? Our Boy Scouts just march. They would just walk like military people. They would just march. And wear gay paraphernalia.
On a fun note, though, did you guys see this?
No.
And it's so fitting because of the substitute teacher meme, and I didn't realize it was going to be fitting until last night. This was a graduation that happened, and it's just so funny. It's someone. Just listen to these pronunciations.
We can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't?
No.
I shared audio. No. I clicked the share audio button. Share audio. I clicked the wrong button. Okay. Can you hear now?
Maybe Lee.
Okay. I was laughing for so long.
Maybe Lee Zubeth Brataski. Sayer Uvun Jinju Brinan.
What?
Sarah Virginia Brennan.
Sayer Uvun Jinju Brinan.
What?
What the heck?
She's having a stroke right now.
Yeah.
Or she's falling.
Listen to this one.
Marcelin Brabazan Carr.
Marcellin. That one was close. Marcellin Brazan Carr.
Yeah.
Victoria
Yeah.
Lee Zubeth Ross.
What?
I don't know. The running theory, which hasn't, I don't know if it's been confirmed, is that they gave her phonetic pronunciations instead of a list of names.
And she didn't know where the breaks in the names were. She just read.
I don't know, like that, but I don't think that explains everything, though.
Yeah, because part of them she's not pronouncing phonetically, right?
And there's no breaks between the names. Like there's spaces in phonetic pronunciations too.
Maybe the phonetic thing is that they just told her the names and she just wrote it down, and she wrote whatever she understood. So it was a bunch of nonsense. And then when she tried to read it back to them, it was a bunch of nonsense. It was like Varicella, Mumps, and Rubiola. And
But
it's like,
it just keeps getting funnier though.
Victoria Elizabeth. Gross. Not what she said.
Marlena.
Oh, Melanie. This is
Zabeth.
Molly. Molly.
Carolina. Urina.
Okay.
All right.
Thomas.
She says Tamume. It's the Thomas University, and she pronounced it Tamume.
Huh.
Well, it's definitely not phonetic because when I graduated, they asked us to do the phonetic thing as well, and they did not sound like that.
maybe a doctor write it down for them.
Maybe that's right.
Shorthand
for her.
Yeah, that.
Iabri.
I don't even know. I don't. Iabri?
Michilu Iabri.
Regilu Ilabri?
Megan Louise Aubrey. Megan Louise Aubrey is Maginu Iabri. That is not a phonetic pronunciation.
I think you're right, Pulp. I think she's having a stroke. Like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh. This is actually great because if you've ever been to a graduation ceremony, it's like one of the inner circles of hell. They're awful.
Yeah.
This would be great if this was
I
happening
know.
at a graduation ceremony.
It would have been hilarious.
That's true.
Yeah, this is clearly one of the Men in Black aliens who is in disguise as a human. Just got wrangled in somehow.
Yep. What are these words?
Anyway,
yeah,
that's
maybe they got the Chinese intern to.
Well, that's
Fresh
all
out there.
I'm impressed. That's all I had for the show, and we're like just over an hour. So if anyone needs to leave and kiss their mothers, they're totally fine. But
I'm out of here. I'll definitely come back and watch your discussion because
so glad
but
glad you made it. I kind of want to just talk a little bit about books, but if you need to leave, that's fine too.
I'm good.
I mean,
next week we're doing Outer Range season 2. They're dropping the whole series, the whole season at once because they're idiots.
Don't do that to us.
I'm only watching the first episode, but I probably won't see If, but that looks okay because I have to take Elliot to see Garfield next week. So
you'd rather see Garfield than If?
Yeah, he loves Garfield.
Yes, If or Imaginary Friend.
Yeah, that one looks pretty good. So we'll see. All right, I gotta go.
Okay,
see ya.
See ya. Go kiss your moms. So
yeah, because I don't know anything about what you guys gonna talk.
Yeah. I mean, we probably won't talk for very long, but I'm glad you're here. It's been fun. Check out Mex's channel. It's been a good episode. Peace out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna make a video tomorrow. Peace out. See ya.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show. It's been a blast.
Fun. Yeah.
You're welcome back anytime you want to come back. And I want to do some book clubs. Did you start reading?
I did.
Gunmetal Gods.
I got it somewhere. Yeah, I've started it, and I'm like maybe a quarter through. Yeah, it's interesting so far. Not what I expected.
It's not what I expected either. I didn't realize it was a eldritch horror.
Oh, I haven't got to that yet.
Yeah, but it's on the cover. It shouldn't be a spoiler, but
it's not a spoiler. But listen,
I started reading it though.
Covers are
exactly.
All lying.
And even modern fantasy, they all have pictures of dragons, and half of them don't even have dragons in the story.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
and so I'm like, there's this huge Elden beast on the cover, and I thought it was like a metaphor. Okay, I didn't know that he was going to show up.
Oh, good.
And I think the most clever thing that book does is when they say angels, it's not the angel that you are thinking of in your head. It's a horrific thing. And I think it's really clever how he uses language in a different way to mean something that it doesn't mean, you know?
Okay.
But it's a fun book.
Yeah, good. I'm into it so far. I'm just trying to balance that with
reading
all this other stuff too.
Well, let me know when you finish that one. We'll do a book club on it.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That sounds good.
So you stayed away from sci-fi first. So what do you read other than pulp?
Well, I always read. I went through it like everybody else. I went through a Stephen King phase there for a while, because you can get Stephen King books at literally every garage sale, every thrift store, and so I kind of exhausted that and realized about halfway through that I didn't. Oh yeah,
it's a great backdrop.
I love it. I try to change them out every so often to mix it up, but we're just renting a place now since we just moved down here. In Texas a few months ago. And eventually I'm going to get a much larger studio because, as I said, I'm getting close to 600 pulp books, and I feel bad because first of all, I hate stacking them like this on their sides. But yeah, I want to show off those covers. That's the best part of them.
Yeah, I wish I had a better setup for a backdrop. It's I'm literally in a closet.
It's
the only space I have, though.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go on that side of the room because then this gross window. It wouldn't have been centered, and there was just no good place to set up a stream thing.
Yeah.
So
this office is right off.
If my body covers up the window, it's not the worst backdrop.
Yeah. This room here is very small too. It's about 5 by 7, so it's like closet size, but has good lighting.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
So I've actually never read a Stephen King book.
Really?
Well, because I stopped reading. I've told the story a lot of times on the show, but in elementary school, I read everything I could get my hands on. I was 3 grades above my reading level. Remember when they used to do standardized tests?
Oh yeah.
Remember those things? I liked them. It was a good assessment, and now we just don't care about students. We don't care about education anymore. So I read Ender's Game 80 times in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a elementary book. It's
not.
Philosophy and crap.
Yeah.
I loved it. And it was because I had good teachers who gave us good stuff to read. Have you read The Thief of Always?
No.
It's written by Clive Barker.
Oh, really?
Hellraiser.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Prolific horror guy wrote a kid's book, and it's horrifying.
What's it called again? I'm gonna write it down.
The Thief of Always. It's my brother and I. It was our favorite book growing up. I've read that 80 times too. So I read constantly. Elementary school, middle school, I had great teachers who encouraged reading, and they let you choose. You'd hey, go find something that you like.
Oh, that's awesome.
My teacher introduced both of us to The Thief of Always. It's really short too. You could get through it in a day.
Yeah.
But a brilliant concept and so fun to read as a kid. And then I got to high school, and they made me read smut.
Oh, really?
Beloved, where the black kids are so horny that they go out and bang the cows. And I stopped reading. I started spark noting everything, and I did that through all of college. I just stopped reading.
All because of Beloved.
It wasn't just Beloved. There was another book in high school that was I've tried to find it because I want to just burn this book. Yeah. It was something about the wilds or it was the fields of promise or something like that, or the mountain spirit, something like that. Had nothing to do with mountains, but it was just graphic sex scene after graphic sex scene, and I'm pretty sure my teacher was a pedophile. I still remember to this day the scene talking about. We're an hour in. Graphically depicting a couple trying to have sex in a car and the parking brake slipping. And so she comes off of him, and then it describes how the semen bubbled out of the tip of his penis. instead of inside of her like she wanted in high school.
Yeah.
So I stopped reading. I stopped. I read a couple books my senior year because I had a better teacher. I did end up reading Beowulf, which was friggin' dope.
Yeah,
and I read Romeo and Juliet in middle school. Or Romeo and Juliet's a comedy. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
What's the other Shakespeare? The good one, Hamlet. I read Hamlet at senior year. I read Beowulf. That might have been it. I read the Great. I read half of The Great Gatsby.
I have it here. I haven't read it yet.
I read most of it. I did SparkNote some of it. But I had my big project. Instead of a book report, I convinced my teacher to let me make a movie.
Perfect.
That's what I always did. I would make a movie for my projects because I hate writing. I hate writing so much. I would just make movies, and the teachers loved them because they were hilarious, and I was a funny guy. Like I played The Great Gatsby, and I was just over the top and hilarious. And the scene where I get shot, we loaded ketchup into the barrel of a paintball gun, and then stuffed it with with cotton balls, and then shot the ketchup out on me. So I was like, and I was like, "There's blood." It was pretty great. Great Gatsby is a good book. It's not. I don't think it's a good book for high schoolers to read. I think it's a good college book.
Yeah.
If I'd have read it in college, I probably would have. I loved it more, but. Because what you don't get in high school is that it's a criticism of all of the bad things in the book.
Gotcha.
It's not condoning them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it wasn't until after college. I guess I started reading Brandon Sanderson in college. I read like a couple of his books because someone recommended them to me. And then I started reading all of Brandon Sanderson. And then I discovered audiobooks. And last year I read like 50 books, which is more than I'd read like my whole life combined. So
I haven't read any Brandon Sanderson. I have like Mistborn. I think I have a couple of his, but they're just on my TBR list. But I've taken his online science fiction and fantasy course a couple times.
It's really good.
Great.
It's really good. I'm going to write a book eventually. Now that I'm almost done with my studio music album, I can dedicate more time to writing. But it's also scary because now that I can, and everyone's going to start judging me if I don't do it.
It's out there on the internet.
I've had an excuse. I've been world building. I'm just world building. I'm just dabbling. It's a cool idea, and I know what the story's going to be, and I haven't done any of the legwork yet. And now I don't have an excuse.
Is it fantasy?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fantasy boy.
Yeah.
Although I do have an idea for an awesome sci-fi. Maybe you're smarter than me. You can take this, okay?
Probably not, but go ahead. Let's hear it.
Because I was reading Three Body Problem while watching Shogun, and I thought, okay, all the sci-fis when it's not all of them, but typically when you get a first encounter, it either is the event that unites Earth, and Earth just becomes like one entity. There are no factions anymore.
That's when we start wearing the same uniforms, yeah.
Right? Or they've already been united because they reach out and they've developed space travel, and so Earth is just this boring thing of humans and capitalism or whatever, you know? Yeah. Helldivers 2. Right? And I'm like, this would be so great if you wrote a sci-fi where it's the aliens show up and it's just Shogun, but with aliens. And so you have a bunch of aliens establishing trade routes, and they make like first contact in Russia. And so USA is like, oh crap, Russia now has alien guns. And so we need to go get a space pirate, hijack an alien ship, and send him to the alien planet so that he can establish our own Silk Road. And so like, wouldn't that be fun? Cool. Wouldn't that be freaking fun? It's Shogun with aliens. I'm not smart enough to do that. I would have to treat the science like magic and just not get into it at all. And there would be so many if you wanted to do it right, there would be so many moving pieces. I just don't know if I'm smart enough to do it.
I have a lot of respect for the hard sci-fi writers because those guys have to be straight up geniuses, especially some of these books that are. But I got to show you something real cool I found. because I don't just collect sci-fi. Like all my sci-fi stuff's back here.
Yeah.
But before I collected sci-fi, I'd always collected books. My wife and I, at our previous church we went to, we would put on this big fundraiser every year. That was like it would feed kids in school, like food at-risk kids. And the theme, my wife's she's a decorator. She does weddings. She does interior design. She does all this type of stuff. And so we would make it like class themed, but like cool. So we would go around and finding old books. And so I just got this huge, doing this event every year, we just built this huge collection of old antique books. And ever since then, I just kept doing it. And so I have a massive collection of old. So every time I find some old, cool book, I have to buy it. It's my vice. But I just got this just recently. It's the first edition Shogun. And I was so excited because I was like, oh, good, it's volume 1. And it was like $6. So I was like, heck yeah, that's super cheap. And then I took the dust jacket off. And it says volume 2 right there. Like, what the heck? I was all pissed off. So now I got to find.
How many volumes are there? I know it's a long book. Are there 2 or 3?
There's just 2, yeah, for the first one. But yeah, so I was excited to read it. Now with the show coming out and everything, I was like, oh, I'm gonna read it. And yeah.
Did you watch the show?
I didn't know.
It was marvelous. I
heard.
Just blown out of the water. It was so good. I'm definitely going to read the book or listen to the books. It counts, okay?
It counts. I've never listened to a single audiobook ever.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I can't do the audio dramas where they like act it out and add music and stuff. Oh. I just need someone reading it because I'll put it on like double speed so I can read more books. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your favorite? I don't like that question. You don't have to answer it. Favorites are stupid.
Favorites?
Because you have different moods, right?
Yeah.
Favorites too general, but what's your deep cut that no one's heard of? That's a dumb question too because that's your whole channel. I don't know. What books do you like? Sorry, what? So you books? You like books?
I like books. Yeah, I was for years. As a kid, I was a very slow reader. I wasn't a good reader at all as a kid.
Yeah, same.
And I think it was probably because I was reading things I didn't like. And so actually what got me into reading was comic books.
Yeah.
And so I collected comic books for pretty much my last half of my childhood. And one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was got like 16 years old. It's like, I don't need them anymore. I sold on eBay. And so I sold my entire collection on eBay for like $200. And it was like
dumb.
Much money. So it was so dumb. So dumb. I'm kicking myself like $200 bucks.
The guy who bought them was like, oh, this freaking idiot.
This idiot.
This grandma is selling their kids stuff.
Yeah. And so like I've looked into getting them again, like some of the same, because I collected like, the X-Men and from like the whole Claremont era, like from no,
yes.
I can't do it.
So I was too poor to afford comic books. So my brother and I, our comic experience was just whatever the library had, and we had a pretty good library.
Yeah.
But kids would ruin them, and so you'd only get half. You'd get every other book, so you could never finish a story.
Yeah.
So I recently just last year decided I wanted to go and collect the entire Ultimate Marvel run, so that I could read what I started as a kid.
Yeah.
And I finished.
So lately, the only thing I read now is either pulp sci-fis or a lot of the old classics. I've been kind of going through because there's so many lists of top 100 books, top 200 books, the old classics that people read in school that for some reason I didn't read in school. Like I never read Catcher in the Rye. I just reread I just finally read Catcher in the Rye.
I get that one mixed up with Grapes of Wrath.
Grapes of Wrath.
Grapes of Wrath is the breastfeeding one, right?
That's the Okies in the Dust Bowl. Yep.
Grapes of Wrath is cool. Catcher in the Rye, I don't know what that is.
Catcher in the Rye it's actually like the whole analogy. Once you understand the title, it's beautiful. It's an easy read. You could read it in an afternoon. It's very, very short.
I should. I know there's a bunch of classics I need to read.
Yeah. And Terra's Dawn. I have not read it. No.
I've never heard of it.
But I'll write it down. I'm always my list is massive.
Oh yeah.
Because every video I put out, there's literally 10.
Have you read this? Have you read this?
You should really read this, but especially because if I pick a bad book from a good author, they're like, no, you should really do this author. I have a couple regulars that are constantly know a lot more than I do. So every video I tell people, hey, if you actually want to know the truth, read the comments.
Yeah. I love the concept of your channel. It's just so funny and it's clever, it's funny, and it's educational / entertaining. Like it's a great concept.
Well, thanks, I appreciate that. I do have a lot of people that are like, I don't read books, but I like your stupid channel. I don't even know how I found your stupid channel. But yeah, it's just I'm having fun with it. You know, that's kind of my goal. Is not necessarily like to, because reviewing pulp sci-fi is a niche of a niche of a niche market, but the people that are into it are really into it. And so, yeah, it's kind of I'm just having fun with it because I enjoy these old books and everybody likes them. You know what I mean? Everybody sees them and like, oh, that's cool. But nobody buys this stuff.
Dude, I love it.
They just look at the covers and be like, oh, that's cool. But it's a piece of crap little paperback. And a lot of these are reprints from the actual pulp magazines. But
you mentioned the Star Wars earlier in the stream. My grandma when I was super young, they moved houses, so I don't know what that happened to the collection, but they lived in a house that they were just caretakers for. So it was not all of the stuff was theirs, but every time we go visit, we were put in the library, and I don't know what it was with this library. It was just all Star Wars books. It was like the entire and there's thousands of those things. There are so many Star Wars books. It was just Star Wars books, and I would literally just spend hours not reading them, just pulling them out and looking at the covers. And I'd go to the next one. And I love Mara Jade was so freaking hot. Okay, like, I don't know why they didn't go with Mara Jade. Okay, in the sequels,
because they wanted to ruin him. They wanted to ruin Luke. The thing is, if they would have just stuck to that whole, like, you really should read The Heir to the Empire. Those first 3
I'm going to
extended universe. They're legitimately great. Like,
I don't need to because that's what they're adapting now.
Oh, I heard. No, they're not. I promise you, they're not. But
that's what Ahsoka was, right?
Yeah, that was ruined Thrawn, which Thrawn was the coolest villain. But
I couldn't finish. So I watched the first episode. I couldn't finish Ahsoka.
I don't watch. I watched the last Star Wars property was probably The Mandalorian, or I watched the Book of Boba Fett, which was no one's talking about that because it's legitimately hilarious.
Yeah,
laugh out loud hilarious, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is so cringy." It's like it's cringy. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just look at the covers. That's how I got into the Wheel of Time too. My cousins owned all of the old copies, but just kind of the pulp looking, just wonderful artwork. And I would just stare at those for hours, but they were like way too big for me to read.
I read the first 3, and then I just, for whatever reason, never finished. One of those series, no real reason, but just never finished it.
It's good. It's worth it. I love it. It's one of my babies, and now that's being ruined too. So
they've ruined it. They're coming for everything.
Yeah,
coming for stuff that half the people you either love or you hate. Willow doesn't matter. They're coming for that too.
I'm sour about Willow.
I never watched it because I knew they were going to trash it, and I'm one of the few people that like Willow.
Dude, I freaking love Willow.
It's great. Yeah. Me and my brother, we still tell each other, you know, you never ever give a baby black root and all the stupid lines from that movie.
The opening scene of the show is a voiceover from the redhead chick. Oh man, it's been so long. What is her? Not Alora. The bad
That's
girl.
Laura Dannon. Oh.
No,
oh shoot. Same actress?
No. The love interest for Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't remember her name, but
yeah, it's the same actress. The opening Sorsha. Thank you, Mark Clark.
Yes, Mark Clark. He knows. He always knows.
I had a big crush on her. And Willow. I had a thing for redheads. Okay. It's a fetish.
Yeah,
I know.
Mara Jade. There we go, Mara Jade. Sorsha.
The opening scene of the show is a narration from Sorsha just dragging Madmartigan through the mud because the actor was he couldn't defend himself because he's too physically weak to go on set and record his part. Yeah, she goes, I forget how it starts, but it's like, Elora Danan was this perfect, wonderful princess, and Willow, well, he's a midget, and that's a protected class, so he was a wonderful guy, and this happened, and I'm not going to mention that I was actually one of the baddies, but Madmartigan, he was a real piece of shit. Like, it's like he was an awful rogue, and just a despicable and a bad dad, and you're like, you were the villain. And what's crazy is that her character in the show, technically, some of what she said was true. That he was like a vagabond, right? He was a deserter.
Yeah, he was roguish. Yeah, exactly.
But her
That's why
character,
he was in that cage calling everybody a peck.
Her character wouldn't have known that, because if you've seen Willow, the first time that she's introduced to his character, he's playing the hero. Mm-hmm. And he pretends to be the hero the whole time, and then becomes the hero that he's pretending to be.
Yeah.
So her character doesn't know that he was a loser. Her character only sees him as a hero, so much so that he converted her to the good side with his charms.
Yeah. Well, he had that love potion, or that potion of broken, what they call it.
I don't remember.
That helped his charisma a bit.
So I love.
Not that he needed it. Madmartigan was the man.
Madmartigan was dope. The TV show was awful.
And now you can't see it anywhere. Now they scrubbed it from existence.
I have it though.
Why did you didn't spend money?
Well, because I was doing my devotive logic on it. It's just that no one was watching. So I would do like 2 days of editing to get like 300 views, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. So I burned out on that one, but I still have all the screen grabs, and I want to go back to it and criticize it because it was awful. But I did the first episode.
Yeah, there's enough. There's enough for anything I'm on the fence about watching. There's so many good YouTube personalities and people that will they do the heavy work for me.
Yeah.
So I only have to. My precious time is not spent on these things.
I might check those out.
That's actually cool because Chris Claremont, that's the whole era of X-Men I would collect. I loved it, and he's not a perfect writer, but he's good. Yeah. I'm to look that up too because I love that idea.
Anyway, did you ever read Ender's Game or?
No, well, that's one of those ones I'm always on the lookout for, but if I'm getting an old book like specifically to like collect it, like that's one of the ones I want to collect, and I don't want to just get like a paperback. I hate paper. Like I love these old.
Some of the paperbacks that I have are pulp quality for that series in particular.
Yeah, and so I want to read it, but it's one of those ones that since I have such a huge list already, I will get to it eventually. But I'm looking for I want a first edition, or I want an older hardcover because I have a rack down here that's all the hardcovers if I find a good book too that I like that I'm reviewing here, I'll go back and get the hardcover. I'll find it and buy it. And
I'd highly recommend it. I just finished the series like last year because I read Ender's Game as a kid and I never went on. But yeah, so I as an adult I went back and read Speaker for the Dead, Children of the Mind. Speaking for the Dead, Xenocide, Children of the Mind. It made Ender's Game look like Child's Play, which it was. It's literally about children playing. But yeah,
that makes sense.
It was just incredido, and especially like as a father, some of the themes in Speaker for the Dead just killed me. I was like,
gotcha.
I don't, they just need a daddy. Like, yeah. So I loved it. Yeah. I'm trying to repent and go back and read all of the stuff that I should have been reading my whole life that high school ruined. So
yeah. So you gonna give Beloved another chance?
Hell no. I have it actually because my wife's an English major and she had to read it too.
Mm-hmm.
But she does. my wife reads so fast. She's a speed reader. She doesn't comprehend anything. She just reads for like the plot. And she'll read so fast.
retention.
And then I like, hey, what do you think about this? And she's like, what? I'm like,
I wasn't in there.
Did you read the book? I want to discuss the themes. I thought that's what English majors did. But yeah, I constantly dog on Beloved, and she doesn't even remember any of the stuff that was in it. So,
yeah.
Well, this has been fun. I love talking to you.
I know. It's been a blast.
We should probably call it here because I've got stuff to do.
You gonna stay up all night editing again?
Well, that's the problem. I committed to doing daily releases this month, and the video I spent all night editing it is under copyright review. So now I have to make a new video for tomorrow. It's going to be a short. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, I do about once a week. I found that's kind of the balance I can do and still have something that resembles a life. Just because I put so much editing into those stupid pulps.
So what I'm trying to do now is I have a live stream on Sunday, and I'll try and have a big video for Saturday, and I can do breakdowns of the big video in short format that lead people to the video. I'm trying it out, trying to get traffic into the longer form videos through shorts. I don't know if it's working, but we'll see. But YouTube only cares about shorts right now, so I'm trying to play the game. So
get that algorithm.
Yep. Anyways, but super fun. You're a super cool guy. Thanks for coming on the show. You're welcome back anytime you want to complain about some dumb TV show, or
you're just saying that because you want more diversity. You need another bearded, heavyset white man.
I need more Slavic representation. But yeah, even if you find something good, please come back on the show. I'd love to talk.
Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be great.
Because I want to get more people to know about your channel because I think it's awesome.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right.
That's it. Yeah, next week, more Jinx, more Outer Range. It was a pretty good show. It's like a 7 out of 10. Okay. And I'm just waiting for House of the Dragon season 2. You watching?
No, never watched any of the Game of Thrones. Nothing.
Game of Thrones sucks, but House of the Dragon's dope.
That's what I've heard. Everyone's like, Game of Thrones. And I was like, it's just medieval porn. You guys watch that. I'm good. I'll read the book.
It's also a lot of that in the books too, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have anything to plug?
Nope, nothing to plug. Just trucking along. Usually a new video every Thursday, Friday if I'm really, really busy with my life. But yeah, I'd like to get more out. But no, just stay tuned. Help me in my misery of some of these books. Because the next one is
not good.
Oh boy, it's not good.
Yeah. There is some joy in that though, of just dogging on something that was just terrible.
Yeah, my son, my biggest fan is my son, and he's 9 years old. I'm like, you can't watch all my videos, but some of them he loves watching, and he references the 4-Day Weekend, which the 4-Day Weekend is the worst book ever written.
I saw the video. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it's yeah, he references everything. Everything is a 4-Day Weekend, and he's 9 years old. But he's just like, when we were saying it's pouring out rain outside, and we can't go out. And he's like, well, at least it's not the 4-Day Weekend.
Oh man, kids are super funny. Anyway, I had a thought and it left me. I was gonna say something. It was important. Anyway, yeah, it's been fun chatting. That's it. That's the thing.
That's it. He'll come to you as soon as we log off.
As soon as I end.
We'll save it for next time.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. It's more enjoyable to dog on something that's bad just because the writing quality is bad. It's depressing to dog on something that's bad out of malice. Like modern Star Wars, like The Wheel of Time, like Doctor Who, like, and it pisses me off because it could have been good, right? Russell T. Davies wrote some of the best Doctor Who.
Yeah, it just shows such an arrogance. Like,
yeah,
you know how hard it is to build a fan base, and you had that built in.
Something I'm trying to do right now.
You just had to make some. If you was just mediocre, you would have stayed level. It'd have been fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Sad.
So, that I think that's why your videos are so entertaining because some of these books are terrible, but it's not because, hey, I'm trying to create something that will indoctrinate youth, and that's why it's terrible. No, it's just terrible because it's just bad writing, and some of that is just so fun. Like you need a Sharknado every once in a while, right?
The funnest reviews to do are the worst books to read.
Yeah,
that's what I found out. Yeah.
Wow. I'm super happy Mark Clark found your channel.
Yeah, Mark Clark. He's a regular. I usually see him in the comments.
He's the best.
So. You're welcome. You rock, Mark.
Yep. And he's coming to Dragonsteel. I'm going to see him for the first time ever.
Dragonsteel?
Dragonsteel is Brandon Sanderson's Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
It started off as just a book release party, and then Brandon Sanderson got big, and so his book release party got big, and it's kind of become its own thing now. It's basically Comic-Con for indie authors. So when you're finished with your book, you should go to Dragonsteel and sell it there.
Absolutely.
It's become, and they changed the name to Nexus because it's become a Nexus. Like it's become bigger than him, and it's phenomenal. It's growing exponentially each year. They sold out of tickets this year in 40 minutes.
Okay.
And last year they were on sale for like 3 weeks before they sold out.
It's really gaining momentum.
No, yeah, it's huge. This year's the bigger because it's Stormlight 5, which is the end of a big series. Yeah. But it was growing without that added to it. And the first year I went, there were just a handful of booths. There were a couple indie authors selling there. But last year, the entire hall was there was like 50 authors there. And I was like, I would never have heard of any of these people, and I was just buying books left and right.
Yeah.
It's a Nexus. That's what it is. It's Comic-Con for books instead of comics.
That's awesome. That's legitimately awesome because there's so many good authors that you just
and the cosplay is less freaky.
Good. That's good. But
there's a couple weirdos, but
it is so hard to get into the publishing industry. It's like it's impossible.
No, and
basically, unless you
that's why he's so
have
smart.
A fan base. It's as an indie author, it is like
he straight up created his own publishing company now with his secret projects, and now he's creating a Nexus for other people. Like it's great. I have friends who have 2 books now. They're doing a YA series. It's going to be 4. And last year they had a booth and they sold out. They sold every copy they had.
That's
part
awesome.
of that was because of me. I was hanging out with booths, peddling their books because I like them and they're fun to hang out with. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Once I get it finished, I gotta get it finished. That's the problem with starting a YouTube channel because I've only been doing it for since February.
Yep.
And so it's how it is getting started. It kind of eats up every spare moment you have.
Oh yeah.
So I'm finally getting in the rhythm of being like I can actually go back to writing as well, writing part time. But for a while there, I had to take a break. I had to focus on this thing, getting it set.
It pretty much sacrificed video games for YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I started it. I'm like, I don't have time for this anymore.
I don't really play video games anymore. Hardly ever.
I didn't do it a whole lot, but other than League of Legends, I was addicted to that. I quit. I'm proud of it.
There you go. No, I did Elden Ring for a year. That was my go-to.
It's been so long. I just played Elden Ring last month, and I beat it twice because I loved it so much. But Dark Souls is one of my favorite games ever, and it took me a year to get to Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And that was the first game I'd played in 3 years.
Same, yeah.
I loved it. Can't wait for the expansion. I can wait. I probably will wait for the expansion.
I probably will too. That's what dads do now. All the money to buy any game you want, and another time to play them.
Dude, but my son, he's only 8 years old, and he started playing it, and he's good. I'm like, these games are hard.
They're hard, yeah.
But yeah, he beat the first boss, and Was proud of him. He summoned. He used a summon. Okay.
Well, you can.
I don't know if that
cheese.
counts.
That's a From Software thing. You could cheese some bosses. It's okay in that.
Yeah.
In that game.
It made me more proud of him too, because I was like, "You beat me." He's like, "Dad, I beat Margaret." And I'm like, "Oh," he's like, "Wow, that's awesome. How'd you do?" He's like, "Well, I figured out you could get help."
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, man. Let's call it there.
Man.
It's been super fun. Seriously, anytime you want to come back on, just message me.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Okay, it's been a blast.
Take care.
See ya.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is
right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If it's true, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel, and you can join us along for the ride. And if you pay me, I'll try to be more entertaining, so please consider joining Patreon.